in, everybody. If you're just hopping on and you just found out, yes, we are on earlier now. We are on 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. 11 to 2, that will be our slot. It's not just today. That will be each and every day. So we're still bringing you 3 hours of power. We're just pushing it up 1 hour here. So we are having fun in our new time slot. And again, that will be every day. Set your alarms, Gunner. Set your notifications and tell a friend. Tell a friend.
I got to throw something in. You as always, your first break, you give kudos to Bravo Pizza, and rightfully so. So yesterday, Bravo Pizza provided the food for us for a pre and post for a pregame show. And so a guy named Alessandro comes up to me and goes, Gunner, finally glad to meet you. And I'm sitting there going, who the heck is this guy? Because he didn't say from Bravo Pizza right away. And he goes, yeah, I brought you guys the food today. I'm like, okay. And, and he said, and he's talking. I'm like, who the heck is this?
Right.
It wasn't until he said Bravo Pizza that I finally put two and two together. But see, I've never heard you call him Alessandro. So I'm like, did I?
Yeah, he goes by Alex, but yeah, that's his formal name. Yeah, Alessandro. Yeah.
So him and his crew bring in the General Tso's wings, and they bring in traditional wings.
Yeah.
And they brought in different variations of their pizzas. Mm-hmm. So I had, me, I got to try a little of everything. So, and he's trying to get me to try your favorite, which is the upside down pizza.
Yes.
So I get 3 of the General Tso's wings. I get 3 of the traditional. And then I see his thin crust pepperoni pizza, and that's a slam dunk. After I get the pepperoni pizza, I'm stuffed. So I never tried the upside down pizza, but everything else that I tried from Bravo's was perfect. So what you've been saying from day one is true.
I don't lie. Yeah, I don't lie to the people. I would not look for real. I wouldn't endorse something. Everything I endorse here on the show, I either partake in, like Bravo. Yes. Or Jim Murray, who I'm going to tell you about in a little bit. I have invested with Jim. It's real. I've used Pro Action Restoration. I used Razor Technology, who's one of our old sponsors. I use Flint Tree Search. I don't BS you. So I'm glad you got an opportunity to take it all in, Gunner.
And
all right, a couple things. Let's look at the positive.
Wait. You go there at least a couple of times a week, and you're like, how tall are you? Like 5'10", $170, 65, $170.
60. Yeah, $160.
How in the world are you so thin?
Luck, pure luck.
You go there twice a week at least.
It's pure luck. It is. It's genetics. It's just luck. That's all it is. And a lot of pickleball. So there you go.
A lot of pickleball. Are you in the seniors league yet? Or no?
Not yet. No. I feel like a senior after yesterday. I played. My legs are feeling it, my friend.
Oh man.
Father Time is undefeated. All right. Let me give you a couple positives here. For starters, this is the 7th time in club history that the Eagles have gone 4-0. Okay. And 2 of those times, Derek Gunn, they went to the Super Bowl. Yep. So 54, 81, 92, 93. Now, 2004, they got there and lost. 2022, they got there and lost. Okay. So 7th time in club history. 2 other times went to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Perhaps more impressive than that is this one. They're the first team to lose a Super Bowl the year before and begin 4-0 since the 1998 Packers. That's a very impressive stat because all we talked about was Super Bowl hangover, how it's so hard for these teams to climb back to the mountaintop, get off to a good start. They dig themselves holes, blah, blah, blah. Well, they haven't dug themselves a hole. It hasn't been perfect, but they're winning. They have the DNA to win games. They win.
When you come off a Super Bowl appearance, next season, every game is a heavyweight fight. There's no welterweight fights. There are no lightweight fights. Every fight, as we've seen through 4 games, every fight is a heavyweight fight. And the Eagles have found a way through 4 rounds to deliver knockout blows in every game. That tells you that this team that has told us all spring and all summer long that we will not fall into the trap of Super Bowl hangover. They have lived up to it to this point. Is the complexion of the team different? Yes, it is. Coaching and personnel, especially on defense. Is the opponent's schedule a lot tougher? Yes, it is. But the schedule is set up that they can navigate their way through the first quarter plus of the season, make mistakes and still come out smelling like a rose on the other side. That is huge, because even Kansas City stumbled one game, and it was a 1-point loss to Detroit, but even Kansas City has stumbled, and Kansas City has struggled with opponents. I mean, when you put it in the pecking order of who is the biggest game on everybody's schedule, it's Kansas City, then the Eagles. Those two were the two finalists last year. And Kansas City, on a fluke play, cost them one game. But 3 out of 4 times Kansas City has navigated except for Chicago. That was like a practice game. You play Chicago, it's like playing a practice game.
They're an embarrassment.
They're embarrassment.
We'll get to them later. Yeah, we'll get to them later.
Yes. But you have to, you have to be mentally now for the guys who are holdovers, you have the DNA and the blueprint of how to navigate this mentally, emotionally, and physically.
Yeah.
The newcomers are just happy to be a part of a team that is considered one of the best teams in the National Football League with a chance to get back to the Super Bowl. So they automatically jump on board. Yeah. But this veteran nucleus on this team thoroughly understands, think about it. Some of the guys are still here from 17. They know what it took. It was a worse situation because you lost a lot of frontline players in 17. And you're still able to hoist that trophy. And those guys
having the experience of those vets, Derek, from that 17 team, and also having so many guys have that bad taste in their mouth of walking off that field in Phoenix with the red confetti coming down on them, is an ultimate motivator, man. And you have a quarterback who is as focused as anybody, in the league, to go with the veterans, to go with the young guys, to go with a winning culture that came here from Georgia with these guys who have won national championships. You got a lot of winners there. So they know how to win.
No question.
Yeah. So, all right. Speaking of that, Hurts is 21-1 in his last 22 regular season starts.
Yep.
Sirianni's 27-11 career record. It's a 7-11 winning percentage. Like this, again, it goes back to they figure it out somehow, some way.
It starts with the coaching staff constantly emphasizing, we are here to work. We don't have time for the little nonsense. They do a very good job in-house of policing their own. Any little thing that could be a distraction, they get rid of, take care of in a hurry. You don't hear about a lot of outside stuff. The stuff that happened with A.J. Brown, that's a rarity. That's a straight up rarity.
But there's no issue. There's nothing lingering. Those two were yucking it up on the sideline yesterday and talking to each other.
Absolutely. It's like we said, last week, we saw two best friends having a disagreement. It's like fighting with your brother. You have disagreements with your brother. You may even swing at your brother, but the bottom line is he's still your brother and you're going to be there for him no matter what. And that's the way those two are, it was exposed. It was dealt with. It was squashed. You move on. This team is very good about not allowing outside distractions to interfere with their overall mission. They get refocused right away. It starts with the coaching staff. It trickles down to the decorated veteran presence. When you think about the likes of Fletcher Cox, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Brandon Graham, they are highly decorated players. They have won a ring. They are Pro Bowlers, and a few of them are all pros. So when everybody else comes to this organization, you look to what's the first thing you do? You look to the leadership. If the leadership sets a bad or inconsistent vibe, that's what you're going to have in your locker room. Mm-hmm. But when these guys walk in, there is a certain level of professionalism, respectability, and accountability that is not requested, but is demanded to be in this locker room. And how many years have we heard Jeffrey Lurie and Harry Roseman tell us they are always looking for high character guys? Now, you look at Jalen Carter. He had off the field issues at college.
Right.
Hasn't been a problem since he's been here, has he?
No.
Very humble, apologetic, very focused.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's expected.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Let's couple things, just actual game stuff now. Hurts 25 of 37, 319 yards, 2 touchdowns, did not have a pick, a 112.3 passer rating. They sacked him 3 times. The best he's looked by far throwing the football. I don't think it's even close to any of the previous 3 games. So to get that clicking yesterday, I thought was big because we really hadn't seen it. Now we know that that's there as well. On top of that, the connection with A.J. Brown, 9 catches, 175 yards, almost 20 yards per catch. 2 touchdowns. And it's not like Devontae Smith just disappeared yesterday. 7 catches, 78 yards. That's more than 11 yards per catch. They are such a dynamic duo, and it's such a good 1-2 punch on the outside for them. It is unbelievable. The first touchdown catch for A.J. Brown, Gunnar, he is so brilliant at run after catch and utilizing his blockers, just weaving his way into the end zone, man. It was a work of art on that first one that he had.
You know what? The receivers who hustled downfield to open lanes for him was a thing of beauty. You saw Zacchaeus sprinting down the field.
Yep.
You saw the people hustling down the field to open lanes for him, and AJ followed it to perfection. There's no question about it. I've been waiting for a breakout game like this from AJ for a while now, and he's going to have more. But again, I think it's going to be more up and down this year because of who he is and what he accomplished last year. And that's why I still say I don't know if he'll get close to 1,500, but if he gets to 12 or 1,300, it's still an outstanding year for a wide receiver. That's a big money year for a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. But the dude is so strong. Not only does he have that burst, he's so strong. You don't arm tackle an A.J. Brown, man. There are a lot of receivers, you grab them by a thigh pad, they're going down to preserve their body. This dude's looking to make tackles and keep the legs churning, man. I love watching him when he does that quick slant route over the middle, and he's not looking to go down. He's looking for a seam to get extra yards. He's trying to inflict punishment as well as he knows he's going to take some punishment as well.
Yeah.
I watch A.J. Brown all day when he gets his hands on the football.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he's like a running back, with size-wise and the ability to read things. And look, he was minus which we'll get into the taunting penalty. He had a phenomenal day. That's for sure. Now I thought DeAndre Swift was good and particularly late, Derek, impactful. It's not a game where you're going to look at the stats and be blown away. It just wasn't one of those kind of games. 14 rushes, 56 yards, 4 yards per carry is okay. 4 catches, 23 yards. Not bad. But when you needed him in some big spots, he did come up big for you, whether it was the last drive, which ends up getting you, the field goal, whether it was the drive, a couple drives previously in the fourth quarter, a couple swing passes to him. He came up big for you.
And that's what I expect out of him. He doesn't have to have gargantuan numbers every game, but he can be so effective in a dual role. He may only get 9 or 10 carries in a game, but if he's picking up a first down, if he's stretching the field, if he's running off a 30-yard run or catching on a wheel route, on that one reel route, he had the linebacker dead to rights, and it turned out being a pass interference because the ball was underthrown a little bit. No, the ball was overthrown, but because the linebacker grabbed him. Once he made that hesitation move and took off, boom, it was dead to rights. And the ball would have been perfectly thrown by Hurts had he been able to run under it. But that's what you're going to get from a DeAndre Swift every game. He doesn't have to be a 25, 30. I don't want to see him carrying the ball 25, 30 times a game.
Yeah.
I don't. That's when you're going to put him in harm's way. But if you can keep that number down to an effective anywhere from 15 to 20 touches, not just carries, but 20 touches a game, he is going to be lethal for you, especially if your ground game with Gainwell or with Boston Scott, if your ground game is chewing them up 4 or 5 yards a carry and your defenders got their hands on the knee, you bring in this quick burst of energy, boom, you got them right where you want them.
All right, now let's give some love on the other side of the ball. Nicholas Morrow didn't make this team out of camp. In fact, was released. He comes back. He signs with the practice squad. He kind of probably swallows some pride, whatever. Some injuries occur. He gets an opportunity. 3 sacks yesterday, Derek. 3 sacks, 11 tackles. Go take it a step further. Throw Zach Cunningham in there. Zach Cunningham's on the street.
Yep.
And the Eagles sign him.
Yep.
And he goes for 13 tackles yesterday. Both of your linebackers have really stepped up. A, you just needed it. And B, I think this could help if Nakobe Dean's not all the way back when it is his time to come off the injured list. Maybe you don't have to rush him back because these guys are playing pretty solid football for you.
I love the fact that the Eagles really don't have a true inside backer on the roster. You've asked these guys to adjust in the last 2 games in particular. They have really made a name for themselves in terms of coming up, stuffing running plays, defending pass plays, making big plays. And Morrow yesterday, a big sack. 3 big sacks. This guy went from coming here with no guaranteed money, penciled in as a starter, slowly working his way down the depth chart through training camp and preseason to the point where he's cut and re-signed to a practice squad, to stepping in and playing the way he is now. That you talk about the Eagles finding an uncovered gem for them in a very crucial situation, especially with Dean being down. Can't say enough about the way those two linebackers have played the last couple of games. Please just stay healthy, man. With the way players are dropping like flies across the National Football League, and I'm talking about devastating injuries. I'm not even talking about the injuries where you're out 2 to 3 weeks. As you mentioned off the top of the show, look at how many prominent players are gone every week for the rest of the season. We saw it again yesterday, and we're going to see it across the league again this week and the next week and the next week. I'm just hoping the Eagles come close to doing what they did last year in terms of keeping bodies healthier than most teams in the league.
Yeah. The other one I'll throw in there, he maybe didn't have his, biggest game yesterday, but Jalen Carter's second in defensive tackle pressures in the league, only behind Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
So he's making his presence felt, which is helping those linebackers eat. When those guys, especially in the interior, and I thought Fletcher had an excellent game again yesterday, but when those guys are doing their thing inside, it allows those linebackers to not have people all over them and be able to roam and make plays. So they both made plays yesterday, but one hand, you watches the other one scratch each other's backs, whatever bad analogy you want to use there. But what I also like too, Derek, is Reddick makes his presence felt yesterday, which was really, really big. I think just psychologically having the cast off probably helped the guy yesterday. He probably, like I said, could have had 1.5 sacks, but he was as active as I've seen him all season.
Well, he was playing one-handed, and that had to affect him. Now he's getting back to the Hassan Reddick we expect him to see. And first game with that cast off his hand, he gets 1 sack, and more are going to come. Will he get 16 sacks? That remains to be seen, because I guarantee you they're blocking him differently this year than they did last year. Also, that's to be expected. To try to neutralize him. Josh Sweat really hasn't opened up. Eagle Empire, thank you, brother. I appreciate and I respect you, man. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Eagle Empire. Appreciate you.
That gun. I'm a naval vet. Respect you, brother. Anybody who serves for our country, I have a lot of respect, the utmost respect for. But they're gonna attack. We expect this. Offensively, defensively, every opponent is going to attack this team in a different manner. And it's understandable because let's face it, in a copycat league, if you see one team have a measure of success, you're going to take what you do and try to implement some of the things that you saw that a predecessor do. And then because that dominant team doesn't have the necessary film, you have to adjust on the fly to combat it and try to defeat it. The Eagles have been able to do that up to this point as well as anybody in the National Football League. Only, again, how many teams are still undefeated? 2, and they're on a collision course to meet later this season. So give the team credit where credit is due. Now, we are not just fans here. We are here to critique everything we see also. So even with the good, there is some bad. There is some concern that we have to talk about, or we're not doing our jobs. It's not that we're being downers. People, they're being negative and they won. No, we're not. We're looking at little things that we want to see them correct, because if they don't correct them somewhere, it's going to catch up to them.
Look, here's what you get with us. And I don't want to speak for you, Derek. So if you disagree with anything I said, please hop in. But we aren't fanboys where we're waving pom-poms, where we're looking at things blindly, with eagle-colored glasses on. But we're also we're not trolls. And we're not going to come on here and tell you Jalen Hurts sucked yesterday when Jalen Hurts played his best game of the season. We're going to keep it real. Both sides. We're going to praise where praise is due, and we're going to be critical where that kind of analysis is due. Hence the reason we're doing 2 segments here of game breakdown, positives and negatives. That's the way we roll. That's the way we're always going to roll. So, for whatever it's worth. We've gone far too long without giving Jake Elliott some love here, Gunner. So 4 for 4 yesterday with this guy. Game-winning field goal, 54 yards. Not exactly a chip shot. How about yesterday? He goes 41, 47, 36, 54. These were not easy kicks, man. And, I don't want to ever take it for granted what this guy does, because I see a lot of bad kicking around that. Football League. And
Oh
this
my
guy
goodness.
stellar. He really is. He is a stellar kicker.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask something because post game show, either in the middle or the latter part of the show, we debate who our player of the game was yesterday. So I will ask you, because we didn't discuss this in the show meeting, and I did this deliberately because I want an impromptu answer from you. I didn't want you to have time to think about this.
Okay.
Look at everything that happened in the game yesterday for the Eagles. Who's your player of the game?
Ooh. Jake Elliott.
That's who I said. Now,
that's 12 points right there.
One person said AJ Brown. I can't argue against it. That man had a big day yesterday.
Yep.
One person said Nicholas Morrow had 3 sacks. I can't argue against that either.
Take nothing away.
But when it was my turn, I did not hesitate. I said it was Jake Elliott. Because 61-yarder, what? Was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
When he kicked that 61-yarder.
It was,
and he comes back.
Yeah.
He comes back. So he comes back in the clutch. How many people have we seen miss a 40-yarder, 44-yarder? This man nails a 54-yarder in overtime right down the pipe. The Eagles offense didn't hesitate to bring him out on the field. That's how much respect they have for him. That's how much they are assured that 99% of the time he's going to be straight money. That's a lot of praise. You know, we always joke about, hey, kickers don't practice. You know, kickers don't go through the strenuous rigors.
They're off to the side and they're doing their thing. Yeah.
They're standing under the goalpost with the punters when most of the other guys are practicing.
Yeah.
When the numbers call, you better be able to separate yourself from the rest of the National Football League. I would say if you asked how many money kickers there are in the NFL, I would say there's maybe 3 kickers, including Jake Elliott, that I would put my money on to deliver. You have Justin Tucker.
No doubt, Justin Tucker.
Jake Elliott, maybe one or 2 others.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
I agree with you.
Dude.
Look, I agree. Look, I think you could argue Elliott, Morrow, Hurts, Brown. Yeah, I'd probably say those guys. I think you can make a case for really 4 guys, a real strong case for 4 guys. So I'm giving Elliott some love. I think, you know what? I will say this too, Derek, just sort of, even though I didn't love Braden Mann, his first couple of punts, but I think the special teams in general has looked better. Elliott's always been money, but Covey, you know, 3 punt returns yesterday, 38 yards. He had a 20-yarder. Covey's having a real good year. Now, unfortunately, he is in, according to Jeff McClain, concussion protocol. So that's concerning, obviously, you know, with that. But he's had a real nice year for them so far, and I think Michael Clay's unit that unit has looked better. They've looked better than they looked certainly last year as a collective. I would say they look better. So that is a positive.
In terms of coverage, in terms of Covey, I think Covey's averaging like 9-11 yards per return, which is near the top in the NFL this year. You know what? I like what Covey said, and I'm paraphrasing it, but I saw Covey came out last week and said, "I know a lot of people, make fun of me, and putting my body in harm's way." He said, "But I will never stop trying. I will never stop trying." And stuff. I said, you know what? He's handling it perfectly. So he knows, he probably heard you talking about him, calling him Crash Covey. I never said anything negative about him.
Oh, man, is your nose growing as you say these words? Honest to God. I mean, you're going to take it. It's like, oh, you are, man. No wonder your eyes are brown, because you are full of it, my man.
And you know what's funny? You mentioned Braden Mann yesterday. Did you see when I tweeted after
I saw, and then I started getting everybody. Yeah.
I said, bring back Sippos.
And then all of a sudden I start getting the deluge of everybody reacting off of you doing that. Unbelievable, man. All right. So we'll come back and we'll like we said, we're going to give you both sides of this thing. So we just gave you the good, and obviously the big thing is 4-0. I mean, that it begins and ends there. But we're also going to look at things that we didn't like yesterday. And there were things.
Real quick. Just to confirm, South Pal confirmed. South Pal will be with us at noon tomorrow in our new time slot. He was supposed to be with us at 2:00, and we forgot about the time adjustment. So Sal Pal will be joining us at noon tomorrow.
Perfect. And again, just based off you saying, oh man, what's Gunner talking about? So we're every day now. We are 11A to 2P. We just adjusted it an hour forward. That's all. And this will be every day, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. as opposed to 12 to 3. So for all our friends who are just hopping on, like Tina, I got you. We're now 11 o'clock. We'll keep it roll. We're still talking Eagles. You're not going to miss anything. But every day now, let's again set your alerts on the phone, the whole 9. We're going to be 11 o'clock instead of 12 o'clock. So we will get that done. Yeah.
Hey, Tina, that's a $50 fine. For being late. You can donate it to the Help D-Gun Move to Southern California Foundation. Thank you very much.
Don't help him, Tina. No.
And then Eric Winter says, what's going on, cousin D-Gun and White Chocolate Rob?
That was my nickname in high school. Yes. White Chocolate. Oh, man.
Chocolate. Oh, my goodness.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah, me and Jason
Williams. Man.
Yeah. All right, so we'll keep it rolling when we get back. And again, we'll dig into some things that need to be corrected as they advance forward. And by the way, Gunner, if Stafford's healthy, this game this week is not going to be nearly as easy as a lot of people think against the Rams. Sean McVay is coaching his butt off this year with that squad. So we'll talk about it.
Let me tell you something. Rams got a couple of young receivers that are going to be dealt with. Yo, Tina, what's up with this? I'll bring 50 to the next Eagle game. Come sit in traffic to get it. You just mail it. Mail it to my P.O. box. I ain't coming nowhere near traffic. I'll tell you that now.
Oh, my God. Yes.
But you know what? No, you're right. I'm deviating, man. It's Monday, man. I'm in a good mood, man. Look, Rob, I'm all over the place today, bro. I'm just going to
That's the way we should be. And we should be that way every day. We're not digging ditches, man. We're not up on a roof.
No question about it.
We're having fun. We're talking sports, and we're
and I'm hanging out with my boy Rob. I've known we've been family for 26 years. You know, I never thought you and I would be able to do a show together. You were producing at NBC, Michael Barkan's show, and I was doing what I was doing. And, and then, of course, we went our separate ways and stuff. I never thought, I've enjoyed this thoroughly. And I'm not just saying this because you're here. I've always had the utmost respect for what you do, your knowledge of Philadelphia sports history. And you're like the adult to my kid in this format.
Oh boy. Oh man, I don't know about that, but I appreciate it. Look, I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't you that I had the option to do the show with. I will tell you that, because I love doing the show with you, man. Like you and Tone, and I love all of our friends who hang out with us on a daily basis. You are appreciated. You are appreciated. All right. We'll get a quickie in here, and we will come back and we'll look at the things through a very, discerning prism here of what's going on with the Birds. So we'll get into that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, Sports Take 11 to 2 every single day. All right, let's talk about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Because look, knowing who to trust with your finances is critical. You work too hard. You work way too hard to not invest your money the right way and with the right people. Okay. I went through it for a long time. I had a hard time finding the right person. Hard time finding the person that I could just ask questions to and get a hold of them on the phone or via email. And that's another great thing about Jim. He is a sounding board. He's an awesome sounding board. So I can tell you from personal experience that it took me a long time. I don't want you to have to go through that. I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers with Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. And for you, it could be retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. You might have a small business. You're trying to get employee benefits off the ground. It's another resource that Jim can help you with. Simply give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You could also email him, Murray, MURRAY, .jim@principal.com. That's Murray.jim@principal.com.